Hi, welcome to Café with Controversy, the podcast where we debate about issues relevant to you. Today's topic will be euthanasia. And when we say euthanasia, we don't mean little Chinese, Japanese, or Korean children, we mean assisted suicide. Now, to introduce our hosts.
Oh, hi, I'm David.
I'm Faith.
I'm Pal.
I'm Pheonix.
And today, a special guest host, Cal.
All right, for those unfamiliar with the concept of euthanasia is when a doctor or certified professional aids in the death of a person. The official definition from the Oxford Dictionary is the painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable or painful disease or in an irreversible coma. The practice is illegal in most countries.
So perhaps we should introduce each person's view on this controversial topic.
All right. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with it. If a responsible adult in his or her full mental capacity has a terminal illness and wants to end it all, that's their choice.
Yeah, well, while euthanasia is traditionally looked down upon by most, it seems to me that there is no real problem with it.
On the most part, I actually disagree with it, but if it's a terminal illness with no chance of recovery, and they know you're going to die in a short amount of time while being in complete pain for the remaining days of life, in their full mental capacity, the person should have the ability to choose whether or not they want to end their life.
I disagree with euthanasia completely because you're killing innocent people.
I'm completely okay with euthanasia, and I can get into the reasons why later.
So, Faith, do you want to introduce the first situation?
Okay, I'd love to. So the first example is extreme situations. Consider this. You have a brother, a mother, a wife or boyfriend, or anyone that you really care about, and you love this person more than anything in the world, and you only want to make them happy. Now consider they have a terminal illness, like, I don't know, any terminal illness that is incurable, and with they have a 0% chance of survival. It's a degrading illness that it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and they're going to have so much pain. And every time you see them, they beg you to end it because it hurts them so badly. Would you be willing to kill them or euthanasia, help them with the doctor, or would you be totally disagreeing with it?
Well, that's kind of bleak. So, yeah, I think that in that circumstances where there are those people who can't really be cured, then it would be okay just to kill them, just to put them out of their misery so that they can go on to a better place.
Yeah, if you truly love someone, you want to take the first course of action that helps them first. And if they are 100% aware of their decision and don't want to live in pain for the few remaining days, then it should be their decision and you should support their decision.
I agree. I mean, if it's someone that you really care about and they're begging you because it hurts them so badly, how can you say no to someone that you really care about, that wants nothing more than for you to do this for them?
I agree with that. And I mean, also, it's something, I don't think that you can make a decision for someone else. But if that person, the person with the disease, makes their conscious choice to die, then it's their life, their death.
Well, I disagree with it because, I mean, it's one thing to want to do it yourself. It is also wrong for someone to help you kill yourself. If you're in that situation, you should do it yourself. Or if your mental capacity isn't high enough, then how do you know what that you really want to do it?
I suppose that's a valid point, but if they are unable to do it themselves, they have no other choice than to do it. And mental capacity is something that we can get into later, but for this particular situation, they is extreme and they have no ability to be able to do it themselves. Like if they lose all mobility, they have no other choice, and if it hurts them so badly, I wouldn't be able to tell them that I would no, because if you cared about them so much, then I don't know how you would be able to.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, Cal, saying that if they're not of mental ability, except if it's a degenerative disorder like mentioned above, like if it was some kind of something in the brain that caused them to have like a problem with their brain and they weren't able to function regularly, then, and they say just kill me, then how can we really say no to that, even though they might not be in tip-top mental performance?
No, I mean, and I don't mean to say this to stray off the topic. There are some degenerative disorders that are not do not affect the mental capacities, just the physical part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, someone like that, it may be really hard to communicate the idea. But think about it. Someone like that, you can't, like what you're saying, Cal, is that maybe like if they want to kill themselves, but you can't do that. A person with such a disorder would think, I want to die, I want to be done with this, but they would not be able to do that by themselves.
I see where you're coming from there.
So do you still completely disagree? So do you still disagree that even in this situation that you should not do euthanasia is still incorrect and immoral?
Well, I sort of agree more. I mean, I'm not 100%, but it's definitely broadened, made more aware.
Okay, so do you want to go into the next situation? Maybe perhaps talk about mental capacity and if that should play a factor?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if somebody is of diminishing or low mental capacity, I know that those aren't the proper correct terms, then should we be allowed to perform euthanasia on them if the disease is fatal and there are no cures that could work? So what do you guys think? Do you think that
I think that it should be that person's decision, and they should be in as much mental capacity as high mental capacity as possible.
Yes. Now, the thing is, sometimes you have situations like if someone is like an irreversible coma where they're not going to be in their full mental capacity now or ever. And I mean, you just know that eventually they're going to die and they're going to do absolutely nothing else in between. I think that would be a reasonable exception. However, in most cases, I don't think it is correct to kill someone, even with a terminal disease, if they cannot make that decision themselves.
Well, I don't think that euthanasia is necessarily killing someone. It's more like, I don't want to sound super, but it's more like speeding up the process, because usually euthanasia is done when they're in a state where they're going to die anyway. They're just now a drain on resources, and they're just a waste of a room, basically. I hate
That's
to
a
say
very
that.
harsh way.
I know, I
putting
hate to
it,
say
but
that, but
It's true, though.
it's
It's-
true.
it's no use
If
using-
they're just there in a coma state that they're not going to come out of, then there's no reason to just keep them there and waste the power, waste the time, waste the manpower. So yeah.
See, the problem is, one, I think that mental capacity should play a factor. Like like as said before, you should not kill someone unless they have a conscious choice in the matter. But what you said about it being a quote unquote waste of space, it's worse than that because it hurts their family and their friends and all the people who are around them caring about them. It hurts them to see them in that kind of state. This is not the person that you remember before the illness. It's just a shell, which is so depressing.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not even that. Like we were talking about the comatose state, they're just sitting there. You can't talk to them. You can't touch them. They won't touch you back. It's kind of just sad to see them. It's pretty much like they're already dead.
Also, on what Faith was saying, is that even though it affects them to see them there in that sort of shell, it also will affect a person to know that their decision, if they're in a coma, ended their life early. And that's just something, personally, I have trouble living with.
Yeah, I understand that. I definitely understand that, and I have to say I partly agree with you on that. Now, let's see if we can get maybe a different perspective. What do you think about this, Cal?
Well, I still disagree, but you've definitely made it more. I still, in this situation we were just talking about, I definitely see where it would be worth it, if you don't have any chance of surviving, rather than having someone, suffer, unless having to constantly be around them suffering. I would rather just have them go.
Yeah, the case with euthanasia is, while it seems immoral to kill someone, it's the choice. Is it more moral to let them live but suffer in horrible pain for the rest of their life, or to kill them quickly and painlessly to end their suffering so they don't have to go through another year, however long it is they have left to live, of constant, endless suffering.
Right.
I think there are 3 different types of euthanasia. Voluntary euthanasia, which is legal in Switzerland and the United States, states of Oregon, Washington, and Montana. Non-voluntary euthanasia, which would be like child euthanasia, which happens to be illegal in almost everywhere except for their specific circumstances where it's allowed in the Netherlands, and involuntary euthanasia where the patient doesn't want to be killed but they do it anyway, which seems more like murder than euthanasia, I have to say.
Manslaughter.
Exactly. I completely disagree with involuntary euthanasia. If it's against their will, that's murder, and you should be seriously punished for euthanizing someone who doesn't want it.
Well, that's kind of, I think that involuntary euthanasia is pretty much just a more legal term for, if it's somebody in a coma and they can't really consent to it, then.
Well, that's
I think that would-
non-voluntary.
Yeah, I would assume that would be non-voluntary. Involuntary is where, like, it's against their will, whereas
They explicitly say no.
Well,
non-voluntary would be like in a coma and they can't tell you what they want.
well, then again, what case would that actually happen? I mean, I know that that's a term, but in what case would the doctors just come in with a needle and say, all right, you're going to go to a place very far away, and then just do that
Well, to
against
use your
somebody's
own
will?
analogy, they wanted to get rid of the waste of space.
Yeah, well, if the person is able to say no, then there is a possibility of.
Well,
Cover.
here's the direct definition from Wikipedia of involuntary euthanasia. Involuntary euthanasia occurs when euthanasia is performed on a person who is able to provide informed consent, but does not, either because they do not choose to die or because they were not asked. So, and it also goes on to say it is typically but not always murder.
The situation that it gives on this is in war, if a soldier has been shot and they're in so much pain, but they want the doctor to save their life, like they're saying, please save me, and they don't say that they want to die, and the doctor knows that they're going to die in a couple of minutes, and because he has nothing to kill the pain, he just shoots the soldier and kills him, even though the soldier has begged him for his life, because the doctor had made this choice that he doesn't want to see this man suffering for 10 more minutes or however long it is.
Oh, that is just.
Which is the situation given on Wikipedia.
Well, all right. So, yeah, so involuntary euthanasia seems to be more associated with murder than it does anything else.
Right.
So I think that we have fully covered this topic, and if we say anything more, we're going to just ramble on and restate what we've already said. So I think we should cut it off here.
I think so. So this has been Café with Controversy. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe to us on iTunes.
Brilliant.
Super brilliant.